spoke to me. And these are his words. President Reagan has met with his Joint Chiefs of Staff to plan a war. I want you to hold a press conference and make known their plans and tell them that you got it from me, Elijah Muhammad, on the wheel. Exact words. Then he said, you have one more thing to do. And when you have done it, you may come again to the wheel. And I would be permitted to see him face to face. In that short time, he dismissed me. I got back in the wheel. It took off out of a tunnel, then went up to a terrific height and turned. And when I looked down, I saw like a city in the sky. This is that city you all talk about that's in the book of Revelation. And I saw, as it were, a new Jerusalem come down from heaven like a bride. Oh, man. I know what I saw. Now I'm going to tell you how I see. That I can tell you what's coming. And you can take it or let it alone. But today, I have to do this. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, in the vision, the plane dropped me off outside of Washington. I went in, had the press conference, and it was over. The next morning, I woke up, and it had completely left my mind. But on the 19th of September, a great earthquake shook Mexico City. And when that earthquake shook, I was standing up praying, and the room began to shake under my feet. September 19th, 1985. Go look it up. A great earthquake. And it's not an accident that a great earthquake took place in Chile that is a precipitant of what I have to tell you today, of what's coming to America. You will not escape. I will get to the earthquake in Haiti in a little while. So I told my experience to Mother Tinetta. She's here. She lived in Cuernavaca in Mexico. I told my wife Khadijah. But I still was like in a daze. Like I really didn't fully grasp what had happened to me. We flew into Phoenix, Arizona, Brother Jabril, and we were driving, and I told him my experience, and I saw him in the supermarket after I told him. He was weeping. I still hadn't grasped it fully. Listen. It was time now for me to go to New York. Put up on the screen what they were saying about me in New York. Mayor Koch called me the devil. Listen, man. The whole city was upset. And the Jewish Defense League was marching again. Who do you want? Farrakhan. How do you want him? Dead. But that night, we flew into Hartford because New York was so hot, I couldn't just go into New York. I came under a disguise. And I flew into Hartford Springfield Airport, and then the FOI drove me into New York, and when I got to my suite, even my wife didn't recognize me. In those days, you could get on a plane using a funny name. You didn't have to show any identification, so I got on the plane under another name, and I was made up, brother. And me and Brother Jabril, he was made up too. And while we're sitting in the plane, he said, he got out his tape recorder. He said, I want you to tell me again your experience. And as I began to tell him my experience, I began to weep. I said, you know how when a doctor is going to stick you with a needle, sometimes they rub until the skin is a little deadened, and then they hit you with the needle? I said, they put something in me up on that wheel, and I'm not sure what it is, but I know something was put in me. I think it was the scroll. Now, see, all you that know me, you don't see me reading books. But ask me a question, and the answer is there, not because somebody gave it to me, but that you see, I speak and another voice talks to me. You got to know who you're dealing with today. You all can bear me witness. Elijah Muhammad told me, you don't have to study. Just stand up and let God speak through you. Now I'm in New York. 50,000 people come out. Madison Square Garden holds 18 or 19,000. They lost control of the doors. The black people broke the doors down. They were standing in line with their tape recorders, with cameras, and when they were told you couldn't bring that in, they went and threw it in the garbage pail rather than lose their place in the line. 6,000 were in the Felt Forum. They lost control. And the minister spoke. It was a great night. And the next day, New York was on fire. Mayor Koch couldn't believe it, that the people would come out to hear a man that they said was a vile bigot and an anti-Semite. Now, right after that, I planned to go on a world tour. Listen, Kwame Ture calls me. You know Kwame Ture? He said, Brother Farrakhan, he said 15 groups are going to hold a press conference at the National Press Club saying hands off Libya. Now remember, in my experience, I was only told that he was planning a war, but they didn't tell me who the war was against. So Kwame says, brother, we want you to speak for us. I said, okay, my dear brother, I'll write up something. I went to the Howard Hotel. Kwame came in the room. I let him read the speech, and he okayed it. And I went down 15 nations, or members of many groups, and the Native Americans were a part of it, was saying to the government of America, hands off Libya. You can get that speech. But now I see all these cameras, and I'm wondering, is this where I'm supposed to do this? But I'm not sure. So I did what I had written to do, and when I left, the Challenger went up in space and blew up. You remember? And I started my world.